Welcome Pisces to your March 2025 monthly forecast. If you recall, as February came to a close, there was a new moon in your sign, but it was a new moon that squared off with your traditional ruler of Jupiter. New moons are a great opportunity to showcase our individuality, but to reset how we look. The first house is about our appearance, but the fourth house position of Jupiter is about home and emotion. So maybe some of the things that you're thinking about as you come into this month, as the energy of that new moon provides a backdrop right through March. So it's intriguing that that new moon occurred on the last day of February, but its impact will be felt mostly in March. So something you feel passionate about, but particularly about where you live or your family life, may be something that inspires you the most. And you know, inspiration is a word that really fits the combination of Mercury, Neptune, your modern ruler, but also the North Node back in your sign for the first time since 2012, merging with Mercury and Neptune at the start of this month. The North Node, that invisible point, but so powerful in drawing us in a particular direction, also known as the point of destiny, that's saying to you, what is it that you could work with that's very much about you, the individual? Now, it could be by giving yourself a glamorous makeover, but I feel it may be more about expressing a talent, an interest, a creative part of your being. You know, if you are someone who's a gifted musician, an actor, a photographer, a filmmaker, an artist, a crafter, an installer, a potter, whatever you do that really helps you to share what makes you unique, can really glow up at the start of this month in a particularly profound way. The complication, however, is that on the 2nd, Venus in the subsequent sign to yours, which has been giving you the opportunity to have some financial fortune, goes into a retrograde until the middle of April. It's possible, therefore, that if there has been something around your financial situation that hasn't quite been defined, there could be some liabilities. Perhaps Venus in your second house has seen you being a little bit free and easy with your resources, and you may have to tighten up a little bit. Also, it may have seen you struggling to keep to a diet plan that you may have set yourself at the turn of the year with your New Year resolution. But on the 3rd, Mercury steps out of your sign and into Aries, and that supports Venus in a very constructive way. So don't get too caught up on Venus being retrograde at this stage of the month, because Venus also supports Jupiter, your traditional ruler, in a lovely sextile. So despite the retrograde, I actually feel that some good financial news is possible right at the start of this month, and you may get the firm offer or breakthrough by around about the 11th as Mercury and Venus completely combine. But the link between Jupiter happens earlier, and it is very promising. What's not to like? Well, it's just on the 12th, Saturn in your sign for the last couple of years, and you've probably found Saturn quite a challenge, has been in some ways asking you to do the opposite of Venus in your second house. It's been asking you to live your life a little lighter, a little slimmer, a little leaner, a little more aesthetically. It's been asking you to let go of a lot of the fripperies in your situation and just get down to what's truly essential. And you may have found that's what's happened, whether it's been around interests, friendships. Your physical vitality has been lower for the main, and because of that, you've had to prioritize, you've had to decide what's really essential. And the Sun steps forwards to connect with Saturn in an exact way on the 12th in a Saturn cazimi. Now, there is a kind of paradox here, because the Sun in a combination, an exact unison with a planet, the cazimi, usually glows up the other player. But you couldn't really get two more opposite influences, really. The Sun is about manifesting warmth, affection, energy, and Saturn can be about limitation, coldness. If there is part of that plan, that terrific plan that you put in motion at the start of the month, that has some kind of practical weak point, it might show up at this point, unfortunately. Also, the lunar eclipse in your opposite sign, the second between the two signs of Pisces, yourself, and Virgo, recall the first one was in your sign on the 18th of September, that has Saturn opposite the moon. That's pretty challenging. If there is a relationship in your world where someone doesn't get that you need to invest in what makes you unique, that relationship could be severely tested over the next 6 months. But maybe the relationship is with yourself, Pisces, because what the moon in your opposite sign is asking you to do is still stay in contact and relate outwards to people, whatever you're doing that's so important to you. And if you're so caught up, if you're looking inwards to your situation and preoccupied with that, someone else close to you may feel that you're not connected, and they could feel, frankly, cut off, and that could feel uncomfortable for them. So work at your relationships as well as your passions. That's the story of that lunar eclipse. Now, Mercury goes retrograde on the 15th. We know that Mercury retrogrades can cause mischief. For you, the second house is anything to do with daily expenditure. And naturally, it would be a great opportunity to analyse your cost, do a budget, see where you can squeeze a bit more, be a bit more thrifty, but also at the same time be conscious that Mercury can rule online. A lot of people buy online, so anything to do with technology may require a more precise approach. But in week 3 of this month, we see a stunning link between Mars, the planet of passion, in your 5th house of raw romance and self-expression, and Uranus, the planet of surprises, but also the planet of quick change and the need for freedom. And Uranus can see people very outspoken in the 3rd house, as it has been for you 4 times since March 2019. But I think Uranus has also seen you quite stressed at times. But the angle between Mars and Uranus is very conducive for doing something dynamically and quickly that helps you to express that talent that's so important to you. But you can start to get an uptick on the finances despite the 2 retrogrades, because on the 20th, the vernal equinox, the spring equinox, brings in the new astrological year. But this year, it's very close to the reversing Venus, and linking back both of them on the 23rd to Pluto in your 12th house. Past effort, sacrifice, and hard work could see you gain some kind of benefit over the following 13 weeks from the 20th. But also Venus returns to your sign on the 27th. That idea, project, strand, divine enthusiasm that you have, maybe if you didn't quite get the money or the recognition or the foundation you wanted first time round, Venus returning to your sign gives you another opportunity to moderate and modify it. Mercury joins up on the 30th. How ironic that we had Mercury in your sign at the start of the month and it ends the month in your sign, suggesting that something that you did put energy into might need to be adjusted, or it might cause innate frustration if you feel that it's not gaining the traction that you wanted. Keep the faith, because remember that week 3 angle between Uranus and Mars is asking to stay decisive, because the 29th solar eclipse, the last in your 2nd solar house of a series that's gone between the 2nd and 8th houses, is very close to your aquatic ruler of Neptune. And therefore, if you are someone with those strands of creativity, imagination, sensitivity, the ability to pull into a situation in a sensory way, not everyone can do that. Pisces are very gifted in that regard. Yes, you have that other side of your nature that can be almost a reflection of Virgo, a bit cool and a bit detached. But you're being asked, in order to really have the breakthrough that you want, particularly financially, in the 6 months following the solar eclipse, to be in touch with how things feel, to dare to chase your dreams. There's a golden opportunity if you can. Not everything will come off you. Sometimes in life we do have to be very much in the practical sphere, and maybe that's what the lunar eclipse is saying to you. But on the 30th, as Mercury returns to your sign and Neptune steps out of it for just under 8 months, for the first time in 163 years, you're being asked to think again about how you value things. Think again about what your core approach to money, resources are, even what you eat. All of those things are up for review with that solar eclipse at the end of this month. But the big picture really is that the instinctive nature that you have can find an outlet this month, but it needs to find an outlet where it has some kind of earthy practicality to it. So although the Aries energy is fiery, which is about enthusiasm and passion, for you, because it's the second solar house, you need to box things up. So you take something that's an idea, but make it work in a way that has some kind of tangible benefit. So as much as inspiration is important, particularly if you are a very artistic or creative person, do find some applications for the output of your talent that other people can relate to and use, and that will see your financial circumstances start to transform for the longer term, not just this month, for the next half year too. Have a great month, Pisces. If you've yet to check out my new website, please go to www.patrickarundell.com. You can grab yourself my special offer of your combination reports, of your life roadmap report, the most important document anyone could ever read, that helps us to understand the patterns that are played out in our existence so far, but also your 12 months transit report as well. And there's 30% off. Each of these is totally unique to the person it's produced for. If you don't know your time, you can have my solar option. If you prefer to have whole sign, you can choose that. Or if you'd like to check out your draconic possibilities, your soul chart, you can also get any of those 30% off too. Please see the link below for more.